There's Erickson Lubin. Erickson, how are you, my man?
What's going on, Ray? How you doing?
Good, my friend. How are you? How are you feeling? Is your family okay as you deal with the coronavirus? So where are you at? I know you have a son. What's the status of you with, this whole situation?
I'm staying indoors. I've been training, but, just very limited. Staying indoors with my family, my brothers, my son, he's here now. Just staying away from it, staying healthy.
Erickson, are you, currently in Florida? I know that Florida has loosened up restrictions, but have you been able to get in the gym with Kevin Cunningham in West Palm Beach, Florida, or none?
I've been able to get in the gym with him about 2 times a day sometimes, but we're taking it slow until we're able to get a date, or when this pandemic passes by, or they come up with a solution.
I got you. Now, how are you feeling getting back in the gym, Erickson? How long have you been back in the gym working with Kevin?
I miss it. We've been in the gym for about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. Not too long, but I miss it, man. I'm ready to fight. I'm ready for this pandemic to be over with.
Erickson, last year was a very impressive year, in my opinion, for you, because you started off your year, we'll go back to last February, when you became and are the only man to stop Ishe Smith. How big of a win was that for you? Because nobody stopped Ishe Smith. You know how much of a veteran he is. We know what he brings to the table, former world champion, the first fighter from Las Vegas to become a world champion. And you went out and you decimated him, which I think spoke volumes about you.
Yeah, Ishe, he's a very respectful dude. I have nothing bad to say about him. It was a good fight. I just came off the Charlo loss. I had a tune-up fight, and then they offered me Ishe Smith, and I was willing to take the fight because I knew that was a great fight for me to give back. Someone like Ishe Smith, he's a former world champion. He gave J-Rock a tough fight. He gave Tony Harrison a tough fight. I think they were like split decisions and majority decisions. So I wanted to go in there and make a statement, and not just for the world, but for my division. And I feel like I've been doing that. After the Ishe fight, we fought the dude from France. He was a pretty crafty dude as well. Nathaniel Gallimore was pretty crafty. He hits hard. So, just working with Kevin, I feel like, it's made a big difference. I still had the same team. It's still the same team. We just added on, Kevin Cunningham, and, he's played, a major role in my craft.
Well, yeah, Kevin Cunningham, let's get to that, relationship that you have with Kevin Cunningham. Well, I think Kevin Cunningham is one of the most underrated trainers in boxing today. What does Kevin Cunningham add to your game? You're only 24 years of age, but we have known about you for a very long time, well over half a decade now.
Yeah, I feel like he's just took my game to a whole nother level, with just, strict training and stuff like that. There's not much I couldn't do, because I've been boxing my whole life. I've been boxing since I was about 4 or 5 years old. So I feel like Kevin just took my game to another level, inside and outside the ring. He's teaching me the business aspect, and then we're going in the gym and putting, 2, maybe three a day sometimes. So, I just feel like, we're working hard, and he's just teaching me to, be more smarter in the ring, just use my IQ, just everything we need to work on. It's just like whoever's in front of us, we're going to go in there, we're going to, execute a game plan and, draw up a game plan to execute.
Erickson, last year you fought 3 times, as we pointed out. I feel like you thrive on being active and having, 3 fights a year because, that's, you really seem to get into your groove and find your rhythm. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I love being active. Being active, there's no better tuning than that. You're in front of the crowd, lights, camera, action. It's just like, I put in a whole bunch of work in the gym for it to pay off on fight night. And, whenever I'm able to fight, I try to go out there and just impress the fans and, just keep my name buzzing. And, my main goal is to be world champion. That's my main goal. And not just world champion, but to be unified and undisputed.
Now, speaking of world champion, you had an opportunity, your only blemish on your record, back about over 2.5 years ago against Charlo. What have you been able to learn and finally putting that in the rearview mirror? Because you're only 24 years of age. You're barely entering your mid-20s and have all this experience with you. But how much did that play a role in your development as a fighter, even though it was a loss?
I mean, it didn't just play a role inside of boxing. It played a role outside too, because I feel like it helped me. Like it was like a character defining type of loss. When I lost, I was like trying to rebuild and trying to see who's still with me, who's my friends, and like I was still trying to figure out things. Like I went in there pretty young. I do admit that it was probably a bit early, but just the way my skill set is and my mindset, I feel like I was ready for that fight, and I feel like I wanted to get in there so quick and become a star so soon. But God had different plans for me. We bounced back. We still bounce back, and right now I'm sitting at #1 in the WBC. So a rematch is in the near future.
Charlo spoke with Kenneth Bohari and Michael Rosenthal on the PBC podcast and said that he feels there is no reason for him to go backwards and relive that fight with you. Well, what is your feeling when you hear those comments from Charlo?
I mean, he see what's going on, man. I know he sees what's going on. He see that I'm with Kevin Cunningham. He see what I'm doing to these fighters that most of the division is having trouble with, and he just he's trying to buy time. I feel like he's trying to buy time, or he's trying to find a different route, or end up moving up or something. I'm not ducking no smoke. Charlo's a great fighter. I'm not taking anything away from him. There's a lot of great fighters in this division. Gallimore was a great fighter. R2 was a great fighter. Ishe Smith's a great fighter. There's a whole bunch of great fighters at this level. But I feel like I'm the best at 154 pounds. And, a rematch with Charlo is something I definitely want, just to put a stamp on it.
Do you feel that when you said that there's possibility that he might move up to 60 and that he's trying to find another route, or are you saying that you think that he might be avoiding you, or is that unfair to say?
I mean, I'm not going to necessarily say he's avoiding me, because he took the first fight and did what he had to do the first fight. Yeah. So I mean, psychologically, I know he's probably feeling like he sees the process and he see how much I've matured inside the ring. And, maybe he's just like, trying to like maybe catch me when I'm vulnerable or something, But right now is not the time. I'm a very dangerous fighter right now, and nobody at 154 pounds can beat me right now as we speak.
Can you tell us about, you are still in your 20s, but the pressures of dealing with being in the limelight as a young man, the money obviously is getting better for you as well, but the pressures in dealing with like the money aspect and the fame and everything else. I mean, when you win in that first world title opportunity, because that's not easy to deal with as a young man, and much less be on such a grand stage that you've been on.
It's definitely not easy, but it's what separates the average from the greats. To be able to go out there and be so young and even make it there, you gotta be some type of special. To even make it to a world title at just 21 years old. It's not like I came up easy. I wasn't fighting, just a whole bunch of gimme fights or like just picking fighters that I wanted to fight. No, we actually just, whatever name that they gave us, is what we took. And, I feel like that helped a lot. I feel like when I was signed to Mike Tyson, before I got with Premier Boxing Champions, I feel like that helped a lot, because he was obviously young as a world champion, dealing with a lot of money, a lot of fame, and I feel like he overcame that. So he was able to pass it down to me and teach me how to deal with it, so I don't go off in a wrong path.
Erickson, you're 24 now. Is there a difference when it comes to your strength at 24 compared to that of when you were 21, 22 inside the ring? Do you feel like
For sure. I feel like I'm 24 now. That power has always been there, but I just feel like as I keep working hard in the gym and staying focused, it only gets better, man. I'm only getting stronger. I'm only getting faster, smarter. And, you know, my next fight, I'm going to be able to show that.
Have you thought about fighting potentially in a closed environment with no fans? And what do you think about that? Because it sounds like we are going to, you know, we're getting closer to resuming whatever it could be of normalcy in life. But have you thought about the prospect of fighting in without any fans but a TV audience?
I mean, to me, the fans are everything. You know, I love the energy in the building when the fans are going crazy, or when I'm in the ring and the fans are going crazy. But due to the coronavirus, the COVID-19, you know, it won't be able to be the same. You know, to start off at least, you know, it won't be the same. So it'll just be like, you know, I'm in the gym, or if I'm sparring. You know, I never had people in the gym while I'm sparring, or not too many people. And, you know, if that's what I got to do to be world champion, I'm going to do it.
So what's next for Erickson Lubin? Can you tell us, have you talked to your handlers as to a possibility as to when you might be back and against who?
I'm not sure, but we're looking to be back as soon as this passes by, or they come up with a solution. You know, I want to be one of the first names called to, you know, get a date or have a date. I want someone like Tony Harrison. I want to go up against someone like Tony Harrison. I feel like it's good for PBC. Two fights that it's a fight that's easy to make. Two fighters that's part of the stable. It's easy to make. I'm number 1 in the WBC. He's number 3 in the WBC. And you know, I feel like the winner of that, you know, definitely, like, if we don't deserve it now, but I feel like winning that fight, the winner of that fight definitely deserves a rematch with Charlo.
Let's go back and revisit January this year when Jason Rosario defeated Julian Williams to become the super welterweight champion of the world. What was your thoughts on Rosario's performance, who is a hard-hitting puncher?
Yeah, he's definitely a hard-hitted puncher. He did what he had to do, man. He did what he had to do. J-Rock's a great fighter, but, you know, Rosario, he's hungry. You know, J-Rock may have gotten a little comfortable winning the belts maybe, or being in his backyard. But Rosario came in there with a game plan and executed it well. That's another fight I love to face is Jason Rosario. Even J-Rock, I love to face J-Rock. All the top names in the division. I'm not ducking anyone.
Is it crazy to think, Erickson, that you went ahead and, you know, you defeated Nate Gallimore, defeated Jason Rosario, and you defeated Gallimore, and Rosario defeated Julian Williams? That's just crazy to think how boxing works sometimes.
Yeah, but none of them could beat me.
Now, Erickson, you know, the super welterweight division is so loaded. We talked about, you know, Jermell Charlo, Jason Rosario, Garrett Hurd is still back in the mix as well. Julian Williams, Terrell Gausha, a man that you were supposed to fight before he got injured. How much does that amp you up as to know that there are no shortage of top-level opponents for you?
It's exciting. You know, we'll fight any one of those guys you just mentioned. But the question is, will they fight me? Terrell Gausha, Olympian, great fighter as well. I'm not taking nothing away from him. We had a matchup. He was supposed to be in there instead of Gallimore, but due to whatever he had going on, he couldn't fight. But that's still a matchup. You know, I love the fight Terrell Gausha, you know, because he's running his mouth, and I like to shut him up.
What was he talking about in regards to you specifically?
Pretty much telling me I ain't on his level type of stuff. You know, it's just regular talk. You know, but you know, all that talking don't matter. You know, it's about how you back it up in the ring. That's what I like to do. I want to back it up in the ring. I don't want to sit here and talk about Charlo. I don't want to sit here and talk about Tony Harrison and what I'll do to him. I just want to get it on. I want this pandemic to pass. I want everybody to stay safe. Hopefully they come out with a cure or something, and, you know, we're able to have the fans in the building or something, because those two fights is what the fans don't want to miss. A matchup with Erickson Lubin versus either Tony Harrison or Jermell Charlo too. It's definitely a matchup they don't want to miss.
Erickson, you are a father as well. You mentioned that your son is with you. How much has that changed the way you approach life and the way you approach your career?
Family is everything to me. You know, my son is everything to me. You know, he's always with me. He picks up off of me. Whatever I do, he does. So, you know, I just try to lead by example. I try to, you know, bring him to the gym with me sometimes, or like, you know, just different activities that he'll love. You know, just, you know, have him around it. You know, I don't necessarily like want to force boxing onto him, but you know, if he does it, he does it. You know, he's gonna do whatever he wants to do. I just want him around me.
Do you take him to the gym with you, Erickson? Does he hit a little bit?
I take him to the gym with me. Yeah, he just runs around while I train and stuff, hitting the bags, you know, just doing what kids do.
I know that you and Dennis Galarza are very tight. Dennis Galarza, a fighter as well, and Jason Galarza used to be your head trainer. Now he's, you know, your assistant coach alongside Kevin Cunningham. But talk to us about that brotherhood. For those who don't know, I've watched you guys grow and blossom and develop, and whenever Dennis fights, you're there with him the entire week. Whenever you fight, he's there the entire week. But the love and the bond that you and the Galarza family share with one another.
That's my brother, man. Dennis is my brother. He calls me every day. You know, we stay in contact with each other, man. It's nothing but love. Our sons are, you know, like best friends, man. They're like brothers. So, you know, I bring him to Dennis's house sometimes. He bring him to mine. You know, we hang out. We always hanging out. You know, Dennis is talking about making a return soon. So that's someone they definitely want to watch out for, is Dennis Galarza.
Erickson, during this time, have you gone back and watched old boxing matches? How are you, you know, what are you doing aside from training when you can to pass the time?
I mean, I'm always watching boxing. I watch boxing all the time, almost every day. You know, I'm always on YouTube watching boxing. I watch all the fights that come on TV, or when they were coming on TV. And just passing time, just like, you know, I'm still in the gym, so it ain't too crazy. This is what I do every day anyways. I'm always in the gym. I'm always hanging out with my son, my brothers. So the only thing that's different is the curfew times and, you know, the stores not being open. So ain't too much different.
Erickson, if you had your wish, how many fights would you like to get in here in 2020?
If I had a wish, about 6 times. For real.
But certainly one for sure, maybe two.
Yeah, maybe two, 3 times. Well, I mean, for 2020, maybe 1 or 2 times. Yeah, that sounds like, you know, realistic for 2020. But 2021, depending on how 2020 goes, you know, I definitely want a title shot against either Jamel Charlo or Rosario. But right now, I'd love to face someone like Tony Harrison.
So you want to stay, not a stay busy fight, but you want to fight before you fight for the world title. Is that fair to say?
It's up to my team, for real. I feel like I'm ready, but, you know, my team will know best. If they feel like we need a tune-up fight, or not even a tune-up fight, but just a number 1 contender matchup, or someone like J-Rock, someone like Tony Harrison. I want Tony Harrison. I'm going to keep saying that. I want Tony Harrison.
So that's the guy. That's who's on your wish list more than
I want Tony Harrison. I feel like he made some, you know, rest in peace to his father. I don't want to kick nobody while they're down, but, you know, rest in peace to his father. But I feel like the comments he made on he did an interview with someone where he made some comments about who he wanted to fight, and they actually mentioned my name to him, and he said something like, a fighter like myself won't get him up. Like, basically, he won't get up for a fight like me. It won't be the same hunger, like, as if I'm like, you know, nobody in the division. And he's saying that he wanted, because I watch these interviews. Sometimes I watch these interviews and I like, you know, see what they got to say, and like, you know, what direction they're going towards, you know, just so I can stay, you know, stay on point. But
so you're never caught off guard.
Huh?
You're never caught off guard. You pay attention to everything.
Yeah, I pay attention. I just don't like the comments that he made about, like, you know, him wanting to fight the best of the best. When I feel like in this division, who's better than, you know, it don't get better than me. It don't get better than me, especially after coming off a loss with Charlo, him being the number 3 in the WBC, I'm being the number 1 contender in the WBC, him saying that he wanted the top of the top fights. I heard he did another interview talking about he wanted to fight Jorge Cota, he wanted to fight Terrell Gausha, but then he just did this interview recently talking about he wanted to fight the top of the top. Like, I'm not at the top of the top. So I found it a little bit disrespectful. He got 24 hours to answer me.
He's got how much?
24 hours.
So 24 hours. You're saying that Tony Harrison has 24 hours to answer your challenge.
Yeah. Because I want to know what that was about. You feel me? So I feel like we got to talk. Tony Harrison, you got 24 hours. Let's talk.
I like that. I mean, I think it'd be an excellent matchup between the two of you. I mean, he's from Detroit, comes from that old school Kronk boxing way of thinking, and you coming from Florida and coming up.
Tony Harrison's a great fighter. He's a great fighter. I'm not saying nothing bad about him. I just don't like the comments that he made. I think he's a great fighter. I think the fans would love to fight. I think, you know, it's a great fight for me. It's also a great fight for him. He just lost to Charlo. And I feel like the winner should be able to fight for the title again. Fight Charlo for the title again.
Erickson, with all this experience that you've had, how much does that help you moving forward in your career? Because Floyd Mayweather, who is, just did so much and without a doubt will make it into the Hall of Fame, but he said that there are levels to this game. Do you feel like because you've been able to go through what it is to be in the main event and to, with all that you've dealt with in your career, that now you're better suited for it and can really make a significant and a substantial run?
Say it again for me.
Do you feel like with all the experience that you have, it's going to benefit you moving forward, even though you're still relatively young?
Yeah, for sure it is. I feel like, experience is the best teacher. So with me being in there, facing adversity so young, and being able to bounce back from that, because with the Nathaniel Gallimore fight, that was a fight that was actually short notice. We had Terrell Gausha, he pulled out the fight, so Gallimore had to just step in with about 2-3 weeks, but he was already in shape. He had a fight coming up, so I feel like with those type of fights and that type of experience, I feel like it did nothing but help. And then I'm getting with someone like Kevin Cunningham, who's been to the top, not just no regular, just getting there. He actually got to the top. He's took in Corey Spinks, he took in Devin Alexander, Adrian Broner. He took them boys since they was young, and brought them to multiple world titles. And I feel like he could do the same with me. And I feel like me and Kevin, we got a great bond, and. Come 2020, 2021, it's gonna be real exciting.
The one item that I see about Kevin Cunningham with all of his fighters is that he's very big on instilling discipline to his fighters. Is that the case when it comes to the way Kevin Cunningham runs his operation and his gym and, along you guys as well?
That's just how he is. He's a zero tolerance trainer. He don't bullshit, man. Kevin don't bullshit. He makes sure he's hands on with his fighters too. When we're in strength and conditioning. Strength and conditioning trainers. Well, usually regular trainers would let their fighters go to strength and conditioning and other workouts by themselves. But Kevin's the type, he wants to see what type of work you're putting in and see the progress, and just he want to see everything. He just want to be there. He want to make sure we go into the fight with no doubt in our heads, no doubt that we didn't train hard enough, no nothing. So when we go out there, we out there dominant for sure.
Now, Erickson, are you living down in West Palm Beach, Florida, year round, or do you just go down there during training camps? How does that work?
This is where I live. It's where I actually live now.
Okay.
I moved from Orlando about 2017. I moved to West Palm. 2018, I got with Kevin Cunningham.
How important is it for you to maintain being in the gym year round? Not that you don't take breaks after fights, but to maintain your weight. We hear it from fighters that, hey, after a certain amount of time, I know that I have to maintain around my weight, not balloon up and down and everything else. Are all those things, items that you take into account?
Yeah, I mean, Kevin, he's on top of everything. He don't want any of his fighters getting out of whack or getting too out of shape. He wants you to make sure, like, he'll give you the time off. He's not just gonna, he's obsessive with it. We all obsessive with winning, but it's not like he's gonna just be there, after a fight, telling you to get back in the gym on Monday. We gotta keep going hard. He's gonna give you the time that you need off. We put in hard 10 weeks. We put in hard 9 weeks. So he's gonna give you the time that you need off, and when it's time to get back to work, you gotta get back to work. You don't want to hear no excuses. You don't want to hear nothing about nothing. You just want you right back in the gym, and that's what we do every time.
We hear it from boxing historians, Erickson, that they love to see the old days of the 80s when guys fought each other at welterweight, super welterweight, middleweight. With the talent pool that is currently at 154, do you feel like we could see some classics and sort of get back to those old school days where the best fight the best and everyone's fighting everyone to determine who is truly the cream of the crop in the division?
Yeah, something like the Hagler Hearns era where everybody fought everybody. Best fought the best. And, they were able to, just mix it up and get the fans what they wanted. They were able to mix up, Hagler versus Hearns, Hagler versus Ray Leonard, just mixing up the great fights that the fans want to see. Yeah, I think 154 pounds is the best division in boxing.
You think 154 is the best division in boxing?
Yeah, for sure. The most competitive.
Wow. Well, there's so many names that I know that you would love to step inside the ring with. First of all, that being Tony Harrison. Do you feel like you're going to stay here at 54 for a long time? How are you feeling when it comes to weight? Because as you get into your mid-20s, I know some guys have issues. They go up in weight. How long do you see yourself here at 154?
Well, I got to go at 154 pounds. It's obviously become world champion. I want to take over the division. I feel comfortable. So I feel like right now I'll be able to stay at 154 pounds for probably, just a year and a half, 2 more years.
So the next 18 months to 2 years, you'll be at 54.
Possibly.
And then go up to 60.
Yeah, possibly. Yep.
I got you. And
I'm not moving down. I'm moving up.
You're going up.
Yeah, I'm not moving down. I'm going up.
And again, we appreciate the time from Erickson Lubin, the super welterweight contender. Erickson, as we get ready to let you go find a few questions, but what do you want to tell the rest of the division if they're watching now? Because we know we get a lot of eyes and ears from everybody, but what do you want to tell the rest of the 154-pounders that are watching?
I want to tell the whole 154-pound division to, well, not the whole 154-pound division. I'm talking about the whole world. The Erickson Lubin is the best at 154 pounds. And the next months to show, I'm going to be able to show it. 2020, 2021, rematch with Charlo will be great. A fight with Tony Harrison will be great. A fight with Casano will be great. I'm not ducking no smoke. And, it's going to be exciting to see how it plays out. And I'm almost sure that, I'll come out on top.
And Erickson, for those who don't know, you actually have named your hands a different, you've given them nicknames. Can you tell us the story behind that? Let us know what's what.
This is Jack and Sledge, my fist. It was just something we came up with in the gym, me and Jason. We just ran with it because it fits it perfect.
And with the Olympics being the way that they are, Erickson, there is a possibility of the Olympics being postponed next year. When you were coming up through the ranks as an amateur, was that significant to you to make the Olympic team? Or, I know that you've gotten a lot of acclaim and a lot of great opportunities now being pro, but, what is your consensus way of thinking in regards to fighters who are maybe on the fence about if they should wait another year to postpone or if they should turn pro? You were in a similar situation.
I mean, well, it's kind of different for me because the Olympics had just passed. When I was highly touted to be, the number one hopeful, the Olympics had just passed. So I turned pro in 2013. The Olympics was 2012. But I feel like as for all the young kids that's already pretty much on the team, because I feel like I think the Olympic trials already passed, so I think the team's already set, and all that's left is for them to qualify overseas. So for all those young fighters that's about to make the Olympic team, I feel like they should just stay in it. You know, just stay, not turn pro. They're only postponing it one more year. There's not much you can do this year anyway, so I feel like they should go ahead and try to get that gold medal for the USA.
And Erickson, as we go ahead and wind down, the interview, with your record and the way things are, we saw that Deontay Wilder suffered his first defeat. Is there too much of an emphasis on undefeated records, or that people write individuals off after just one loss or two losses? Because how many times?
Yeah, they like to do that a lot, but I never paid attention to it, because look at the greats. Of course, everybody wants to be undefeated, especially me. I'm obsessed with winning. I love winning. Losing just don't sit well with me. It wasn't able to sit well when Charlo beat me. I wasn't right for a couple weeks, and I just thought about it so much, and I'm just obsessed with winning. But I feel like most importantly, I'll be able to take over this division, and then it'll be just, and change people's thoughts and memories. And, they're so big on just, everyone staying undefeated, but there's a whole bunch of great fighters who aren't undefeated. I want to be undefeated. I'm obsessed with winning, but, I put that in the past, and I'm ready to move forward. I've moved forward, and, it's time to just take over, undefeated or not. I'm not undefeated. I'm unbeatable.
No, you're unbeatable.
I'm unbeatable now. I'm not undefeated no more. I'm unbeatable.
Erickson, you pointed out early in the interview you were with Mike Tyson to begin with, and now you're with Premier Boxing Champions. Can you tell us about how much of a family it is, being with the Premier Boxing Champions banner, the mastermind, Al Heyman, who is, your relationship with Al and with everyone at PBC? Well,
I mean, I feel like Premier Boxing Champions is the best in boxing. I never even thought about getting with anyone else. There's a lot of there's great promotions too. There's Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Boxing. I feel like if everyone joined and we were all able to fight each other, it'd be even better for boxing, because the fans would be able to just maybe subscribe to just one network, and we could all get it on one network, maybe on Fox, on Showtime. It won't matter, but I feel like if that happened, that'd be great.
So kind of getting everyone together. Well, I think we're starting.
Yeah, everyone together.
I see that we're starting to see a little bit of that with with what we saw with Fury and Wilder.
Yeah.
Both networks working together. So I think we're starting to get to that point, Erickson. As it's smart for everyone to just kind of get along and everything else.
For sure. Because 135 pounds is also great. That's a division I pay attention to.
Well,
I'm not nowhere near 135 pounds, but I feel like that's a great division, because there's a whole bunch of young guys, young like myself, even younger than I am. Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, Gervonta Davis is a great fighter. There's a whole bunch of dudes that can move up as well, like Shakur Stevenson, Richardson Hitchens, he's a great fighter. And all those young guys is making, it's almost like the young guys are starting to take over boxing. Because you got guys like Shakur Stevenson, he's already world champion. Devin Haney, he's world champion. So right there, Tank's world champion too. But I feel like that's great for boxing. And it's just like, we're inspiring the youth. We're young, but we're still inspiring the youth to go out there and be great and do things, the right way, positive.
And Erickson, with all those young names that you mentioned, you're still in that category. But do those guys look up to you and say, "Hey, Erickson, you've been around longer than what we have because you turned pro so early"? Do they ask you, how do I handle the pressure, or how do I handle this or that? Because you have veteran status now in boxing.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm a young veteran. I'm 23 fights in, and I got so many more fights to fight and just win, and championships to win. But those guys, they definitely. I've known them for so long. Known all those guys for so long, and they definitely ask me for advice, and it's not even just me asking them for advice, you know. I mean, them asking me for advice. I also ask them for advice because, you know, we all got different paths, and it's always to just, you know, feed off each other if we're all on the right path and we're all being positive, you know. So, you know, yeah, those are my guys. They all great fighters, and I can't wait to see how 135 pounds play out. Can't wait to see how the heavyweight division plays out. And you know how 154 pounds can play out.
Well, who are some guys that you look up to that are mentors to you, aside from Kevin Cunningham, your other coach, Jason Galarza? Are there some other guys that you talk to that kind of give you advice and, you know, or that you...
I mean, I always get advice. You know, all my friends and my brothers, you know, they're all like pretty much role models to me. You know, I'm not gonna look up to anyone that's not gonna steer me in the right way or give me the right advice. Can't look up to those type of people. But, you know, my brother's in camp with me. He's in every camp with me. He's like pretty much like my assistant. You know, whatever I need done, he's always, you know, willing to help me out and just fix for me. So, you know, I got other people like Floyd Mayweather, who I talk to sometimes every time I see him. You know, Mayweather's a great mentor. I feel like he's the best fighter of all time, of course. Mike Tyson, you know, I still talk to him sometimes. He also has like a podcast that he wants me to join, you know. So whenever it's safe to make it out to LA, I'm gonna join the podcast that he has. And, you know, just you know, I try to be a role model myself too, because I have a little one, and my son looks up to me. So I'm just trying to be in a circle of positivity, in a circle of, you know, champions inside and outside the ring.
And finally, Erickson, as we get ready to let you go, what do you want to tell all your fans and those that are watching as we continue to deal with the coronavirus pandemic? Hopefully we see you guys inside the ring sooner than later and watch you guys do what you do best.
Yeah, I want all my fans to stay safe, stay home, stay inside. Try not to get sick, man. You know, that way it passes by, and we can get boxing back on the road. And, you know, everybody can get back to work, and, you know, no deaths in the family. You know, RIP to everyone my condolences go out to everyone that lost anyone during this pandemic. And, you know, it's just stay safe.
Erickson, we appreciate the time, my friend. Always great seeing you, and we hope to see you sooner rather than later inside the ring.
Thank you, Ray.